Hey, this is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to be taking a look at a mod called the DH Bolide. So we have 9 options here. We're going to start with the Aero Special because it's the one that's pre-selected when we opened up this menu. So this is the rocket-powered flying bolide with a minigun. Now the controls for all these vehicles you will need to mess with a little bit. So you're going to hit Escape, then you're going to go to Options, you're going to hit Controls, and then once Controls loads up, which always takes a second, you go to Vehicle Specific. And you want to bind all the ones that say Super Tact in front of it because those are the ones that are used for this vehicle. So you can see the setup I have right there, and all the controls that are listed when you pull up this thing up here will match up with whatever you put there. So if you're wondering, well, why does his controls say this, but mine don't? That's because that's what I've set them to. So anyways, let's go ahead and get this thing into the air. We're going to go way on the top of the hill, and then we're going to drive a long way, and hopefully we'll have enough room to get up to speed and get this thing into the air. It's going to be close, I think, though. So we'll go all the way back as far as we possibly can. And look at that. That is perfect. As far back as I can go. We'll save this spot just in case things go terribly, terribly wrong. And now we're going to put this thing in a flying mode. So for me, I just hit T to do that. And it has a nice little animation as the wings open up and the tail extends. So I'll let you see that a couple of times before we actually get to flying. And when you go to flying mode, it automatically replaces the engine with the thrusters on the side. So let's see if we can actually get this thing into the air through this kind of rough terrain right here, because they're going to be bouncing a little bit. And come on. All right, look, we're flying. Let's make it dramatic. We're going to go under through here, and beautiful. All right, we're going to keeping it dramatic. We're going to try to go under the bridge now. Going to go pretty slow to do this because we are going about almost 200 miles per hour. So that looks pretty good. Okay. So yeah, we are successfully flying this thing. And I think my next goal is going to be trying to land it, which is a lot harder than flying it because there's no real way to slow down with this thing because it's a car with rockets strapped to it and wings strapped to it. It doesn't have like deceleration of any sort. You just kind of glide around and hope eventually you lose enough speed to be able to land. Like right here, we're going about 114, which might be low enough to land this thing. Let's see here. All right, wings in. Beautiful landing. That was perfect. I should also mention this thing does have a bit of a jacked up suspension system to make it a little bit easier to land, but I don't even know if I needed that. That was a beautiful landing with virtually no damage. And then again, we could just go back into the air if we don't hit the wings on the edge of things. So wait for it, and up! Just like that, we are once again in the air. One thing that's pretty interesting that I've never seen done before is the tachometer right now. It's at 5,000 RPM. Well, what does that mean? That's actually not a tachometer. That is the fuel gauge for the thrusters. So you see, as I'm thrustering, is that a word, thrustering? As I use the thrusters, the fuel gauge goes down. So when you eventually run out of RPM, you're out of fuel for your rockets, and then you have to fall to the ground. So let's go ahead and crash this thing. We're gonna do something hopefully a little bit. Oh no! This is not how it was supposed to go! It turns out the wings cannot exceed 200 miles per hour. So we're gonna just end up smashing into a building right here unexpectedly. And this is basically a 200 mile per hour crash with a bolide, so there's not going to be much left after this. Doing some slow-mo so you can see the deformation. The wings have deformed completely and the rear tail has fallen off. Now, this thing is no longer a flying bolide. It is just a regular bolide with rocket fuel strapped onto it. Thankfully though, the rocket boosters are still attached. Not like it'll do much good when the car looks like this, but they're still there, I think. I can't see them anymore. Maybe they finally fell off. Maybe? No, they're still there. Okay. So anyways, we'll reset this. So let's get this thing back into the air, and we'll try doing things a little bit differently this time. Last time we just used the thrusters entirely to get this thing up to speed. This time we're going to go ahead and use the engine, and then once it feels like we're going fast enough, like right now, we'll go ahead and enter plane mode and fly just like that. That was nice and smooth, and we are successfully in the air, although the rockets are like flashing. I'm not exactly sure why. Feels like we're getting full thrust, so I got nothing to worry about. That was kind of strange. Alright though, we're flying perfectly good. Let's do some tricks around the bridge right here. We're going to go under it now. Under it. Right through there between the bridge and the island. Beautiful! Oh, that was nice. This thing's actually surprisingly easy to fly. For a car with wings strapped to it, it flies fantastically. Except when it does that. Oh no, we're going to hit the water. Come on, pull up. Up. Get. Okay, we're a boat now. We're a submarine now. We are officially a submarine. I should have said anything. The second I say, oh, this is great, it does something terrible. I want to get this thing back in the air one more time before we take a look at some of the other versions of the vehicle. So let's do the same thing we did before, but this time we have the addition of nitrous, so we can go a little bit faster. So we'll wait for it, and now. Come on. Nice. That was another nice and smooth takeoff from that location. So let's go ahead and fly this thing around. Don't want to go too fast though, because I don't want to accidentally rip the wings off. 170 is pretty much its happy place, it seems like. Also, I don't want to do what I did last time where I stalled it out kind of and then had it just kind of dive. That's one of those things where it just sometimes happens unexpectedly almost. Like I'm just kind of cruising in the air. It's like all of a sudden the plane just like whoop, and it's hard to recover. You have to be pretty high in the air to actually be able to keep going after something like that. We were almost high enough, but not quite. So if you wanted a shortcut to get up to this tower, there's the shortcut. Don't hit the tower though. That was a little too close. We can go to that next tower. That'd actually be kind of neat. You have a route where you have to go to each of the towers or something. Like that's basically what we're doing. We're just going from tower to tower. Although the other ones, they don't have as much of a detailed area around them because they're not actually like a road leading up to them. Like this one has a road leading up to it and everything. So it's nice to look at. Uh-oh. It did it again, but I was able to recover. Like I think it's just sometimes you do a maneuver a little bit too tight and violently and you don't have enough momentum pushing you forward and it just flips over like that. You just gotta know when it happens to try to recover as fast as you possibly can. Now we're getting a little too high up this time, so let's just go ahead and dive this thing to the ground and we'll watch it explode on impact. Maybe it'll be like a really awkward landing. We'll see what happens here. So there we go. Yep, that's not landing at all. Like I wanted it to crash, but maybe not quite that much. I don't know where the wings went. I think they maybe still attached. I just thought they were doors because they were so ruined. And then this poor dude's house is just lit on fire. He's just sitting in his home. Here's a bang outside and his house is on fire from parts of my plane hitting it. Sorry, dude. So what happens if you actually try to open and close the wings right now? Ooh, it just kind of mushes things. Ooh, that gives me a fun idea, though. What happens if the wings hit something when they open up? So we're going to move this forward a little bit so the vehicle we spawn up doesn't spawn on that barrier. Now we need something big that's an easy target. So how about we just go with the H-45 Cabster cargo box upfit, which takes up a ton of space, and there's no way I won't be able to hit it with the wings. Although it is a little farther than I would hope. So let me make it just a tad bit closer to the Bolide so I know the wings will actually hit it. Like that. There we go. All right, so open the wings. Ooh! They open with enough force to shift the Bolide, but since the Bolide's lighter than the truck over there, it kind of just pushes off of it. I guess that makes sense from a physics perspective. I was thinking maybe it would do a little bit of damage when it opens up, but the Bolide's just too light for that. So what if we got something a little bit lighter? Like, can we break apart a cinder block wall with the wings? This, I think, should be possible. Because they don't weigh that much individually, so I should be able to just kind of push them out the way. So we'll park the Bolide right there and open it up. Yeah, that worked. That worked beautifully. Okay. Here's another fun test. What happens when you hit a wing during takeoff? So we're going to try to just gently hit a tree over here. At least as gently as you can hit a plane into a tree. And there, oh, it just grabbed me and looped me right there. That was interesting. Can't really see much of what was going on though. So we'll have to reset this and we're going to try it again. This time we'll go a little bit faster though. We're going to actually get into the air some and then we'll hit whatever's on the side of the road. Like right now, we're going probably fast enough to have an interesting crash, but I want to go faster. I want to be at flying speed. So right here, we're pretty much able to fly it, it seems like. So we're going to go ahead and try to get as close as we can to something here. Like, are we going to hit that pole? Oh, just barely no. Okay, we're definitely going to hit this little light, though. And we just kind of went through it. You saw a couple of sparks shoot off, and that's it. And this one, oh no, we can't clear this, can we? Come on, come on, come on. Oh, just barely didn't clear it. And it has ruined any chance of flying because it tore off the rear of my vehicle and, well, the thrusters are all misaligned now. It's going to, like, push in awkward directions and it's not going to go well. So we'll just watch this crash, how it plays out. Kind of getting flopped all over the place. You can see the machine gun that's inside of there. We'll have to try that in a second. Take a look at the damage here before we go ahead and reset this thing. And we'll take a look at the next version of the vehicle. So we'll move this up a little bit so it has room to spawn up. The next one is going to be the police assault, which says the police will win, which is the most fitting version for the environment, even though it barely fits in because it has a ridiculous gun in it, just like the one we were just driving. So using the gun is a two-step process. First, you have to activate it, and then it pops up, and you can see what it looks like a little bit more closely now when it's not destroyed. And then when you shoot it, it does rotate, although it rotates so fast it's almost hard to see the rotation actually happening. So we'll line it up in front of the Bolide, and then we'll make some shots at it and see how damaged it gets. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, fire! The Bolide is getting just shredded by this thing. Damage everywhere. I don't think it can fly anymore, that's for sure. Fireball of Bolide being destroyed by the police. Alright. Yeah, we'll take a look at the wreckage now. Yeah, that is destroyed. If we try to fly away, it's not going to happen, though. Like the thrusters are just not, doing enough here. It's actually getting it up to a higher speed than I expected. Oh, we're flying-ish. We don't have the stability to actually fly, but we did float through the air a little bit, I guess. So I'll bring this thing back up here, and then how about we reset that wall, and then we'll use this one to shoot the wall apart. That might be interesting. See if the bricks will fly a little bit of a distance or not. So looks lined up enough to me, and firing, and that is destroying the wall. You can tell the fire is actually coming from the gun there, because obviously bricks aren't going to just randomly combust like that, because there's nothing in them that would cause that to happen. And we have a high clutch temperature. That's interesting. We're also stuck on a bunch of bricks. Get out of the bricks! Oh, no, I just kind of ruined the vehicle. Maybe not. Let's see. Can we take off? Come on. I know the wheels aren't spinning right, but I think maybe we can. Oh, we don't have enough width. Hold on. Wait. We got a chance. We got a chance. We're going to fly this thing. This is going to be the great escape. Here we go. Up into the air we go. Up into the air. Up into the air. Oh, no. This is not the great escape. This is the great crash. It almost did it. I just could not keep it straight with the wheel pulling so hard to the side. And we'll go ahead and take a look at one more version of the vehicle here before we change maps. The next one is going to be the Urban Fast Assault, which is pretty similar to the Police Assault, but it has a slightly different suspension setup. It doesn't look like a police car, it's all camouflaged up, and it also has nitrous to make it a little bit faster. So this one should be able to do the jumps on this map perfectly fine, I would think. Let's see if it does or not. Jump number 1, nice and easy. Jump number 2 is going to be really hard though because we're flying. We're not jumping, we're flying. Uh-oh. Hold it together, hold it together. Okay, we're good. Now let's pretend we were being chased this whole time by dirty criminals. So what do? You pull out the fast one on them. You do a 180, and then you just blast them, and the criminals would be destroyed to bits. So anyways, let's go ahead and swap maps. We're going to go over to somewhere with some off-roading. So how about Utah, USA? This should be a good environment for our next vehicle, which is going to be the Off-Road Fast Assault, which is basically the off-road variant of the Urban Fast Assault, but it does have some significant changes I want to talk about before we drive it. First off, the rear and front bumpers are these heavy-duty looking bull bar-like things. And then we also have a gigantic lift on this thing and some real knobby tires that look like they could get through any terrain. And this one has a roll cage as well, so if you roll this thing over, it won't be too devastating to the people in the inside. So to give an example of how heavy-duty this thing is, we basically just drove it off a cliff. And if it lands upright, we should still be drivable. Even if it lands upside down, it should still be drivable. I just have to do a little bit of work here to get it back upright. There we go. And let's see. Can it drive? Yeah, we're fine. And we just drove it basically off of another hill. Drove it through a river, and it's still going good. It doesn't even feel like it's really pulling to either side too hard or anything. It's pretty much going straight right there. So it's a very heavy-duty vehicle that could go through virtually any terrain. It can't do real steep things and rock crawling and stuff because it doesn't have locking differentials and all that. But it can go through really bumpy things and stuff like that, no problem. Can't go through super deep water because it doesn't have a snorkel, but it can go like this through the water, no problem. The engine didn't even get wet that time because I decided to pop a wheelie as I went through the water somehow. One thing you gotta watch out for though is going off the road and hitting the trees. That could be dangerous. Stay on the road right here. This is a breeze for this thing. We're going 70 miles per hour through here. That's nothing. So let's make it a little bit more interesting. Put it right up on the wall and see if it can recover. Oh, no, it cannot recover when it loses a wheel. And then it's also going to drown itself in the river. So we'll try to get this thing out of the water and keep on going for a little bit longer. So apparently that was just a little too much. I don't think it was necessarily broken from that. It might have been damaged from the other things as well because it didn't seem like it got hit too hard or anything. And I just messed that up a little bit. I just gotta make sure I don't crash into anything too hard. It's hard to know what things you can and can't drive through sometimes. That is one thing I have an issue with in this area. Is that a bush you could drive through? Is that a tree that's gonna slam into you? Sometimes you just don't know. I did not know, but luckily I was able to get through it anyways. Right here, this is a perfect area to test it. We're bouncing all over the place, but we're still making progress. Oh, there goes a wheel again. So every now and then we do lose a wheel. And that wheel's gonna just keep rolling. We'll get another one once again. Because this is my favorite part about driving an off-road car like this, is going through a terrain like this where it's real bumpy and you're just kind of bouncing all over the place and holding on as the car basically goes whichever direction it feels like at times. Right there, I didn't have the front wheels on the ground, so I didn't have any steering. Ooh, almost tapped those rocks. Then I didn't. But it's doing pretty good. It's not really getting held up or anything. Just having a wheel loss every now and then, basically, and that's it. A little bit of a jump right there, hard landing, no problem. A rock right in the middle of the road, and well, that's not too good. It kind of popped us into the air, and now we're going off of the side. We're fine. Yeah, we're fine. Okay. Go, go, go. Right over that rock, like it was nothing there. How about this? Here's something I don't think it can do. Can it climb this hill if we go fast enough at it? Sort of? I can tell the suspension is ruined because that front wheel is wobbling all over the place, but it did make it up, so I guess that's a success as the wheel kind of falls out of position right there. So I'll bring this back and then we'll try a less serious off-road one. We're going to use the Group B Rally version, so it's a powerful four-wheel drive Group B Rally car. And of course, the one I was driving was also four-wheel drive. I mean, if you have a vehicle like that, it would be crazy if it wasn't. So this one looks pretty similar to the Group B Bolide in terms of looks, except it has a bit of a jacked up suspension setup and then has four-wheel drive, so it can do something like this without too much issue. Not as durable as the one we were just driving, but it can definitely go through the terrain if you're careful enough, but something like this is not good. I shouldn't have floored it there. I got scared. Let's go ahead and get a new one and we can pull it out the water though. A hill like this though, I should be able to go up that. I know this isn't exactly rally in the traditional sense because usually that just means dirt roads that are pretty smooth. We're going a little bit higher than that just to prove its capabilities here. Like it can go through terrain like this without much issue, unless you do something like that and then things get a little sketchy. And it gets okay because you land on your wheels anyways. Like this is the perfect area for this vehicle. Well, it's just the perfect area for me to drive because I like this area right here. It's like, how can you like an area with nothing in it? I don't know, but just drive it and you'll see what I mean. Anyways, we're late for the bus stop. So we're just going to get there as fast as we possibly can. We're actually going about 70 miles per hour as we bounce through the air. That's not bad. And then, hello, bus stop. As we slam into it right there, we lost the wheel. And look, the wheel is waiting for the bus now. Perfect. Okay. The rest of us, we could go wherever we were going, which was actually to the bus stop, so I have no idea where we're going now. We can just go ahead and crash it one more time, and then we'll move on to a different map, because that's all I wanted to do here with some off-roading type stuff. Ooh, is it going to land it? No, it's not going to land it. It's going to roll it upside down, and that will be the end of that. So let's make our way over to a racetrack now, like Hirochi Raceway. For Hirochi Raceway, we're going to be trying out the rocket-assisted race version. So this is a race car with rockets strapped to it. If that sounds absurd, that's because it is absurd. So this thing has a big old wing on the rear, and then it has a big old wing on the front as well. And it has some unique decals to it. It says like Hyper Rocket, BeamNG, know me, authorized dealer. What are they dealing? Who knows? Power maybe. Anyways, let's go ahead and drive this thing. It is fast. We're up to 100 miles per hour now. We gotta slow it way down because even though it accelerates fast, it doesn't brake as fast as it accelerates, which gets you into trouble because you're like accelerating, you're like, oh man, I'm going fast. You're like, whoa, I'm really going fast as you slam into a wall because you can't stop in time. And this thing actually handles really, really well. You would think strapping a rocket to a car would make it handle awful, but it actually just doesn't, because the wing on this thing is the same wing they use on a 747. It gives you so much downforce because it's put upside down that it just keeps this car in line really well. There's also another wing from a 737 in the front. So it has super good grip with the wings on, but if you lose the wings, then things start to get a lot more sketchy. And this is what I was talking about going too fast and getting out of control. Oh, don't hit the wall. That's kind of funny right there, though. I was able to use the thrusters to push myself away from the wall. Usually if you have wheels and you're just spinning the wheels as you're going backwards, it's not going to do much to slow you down compared to using your brakes. But since I had thrusters, I actually accelerated to slow down. Sounds funny like that. Anyways, though, I'm going to drive this thing around a little bit longer with the wing on, and then we're going to remove the wing and see how much more messy it gets. Like, if we remove the rear wing, it becomes a little bit more oversteery. If we remove the front wing, it does not churn in well at all, and you got to e-brake all over the place. At least, that's what I experienced on my first time testing this, but those times I did lose the wings through crashing. When we take off the wings here, we're going to do it more scientifically, but not yet. I'm still having a good old time cruising this thing around Hirochi Raceway. It's doing a swell job of that, but I think we need to do what I said. So full speed ahead into a wall, and that has ruined the vehicle. Can we drive it a little bit though, since the thrusters are still attached? Yeah, a little bit, but you can't really steer it. So we'll reset this thing, and then we'll go ahead and remove the rear wing. And with this wing removed, it should still be pretty drivable. It's not going to have a huge issue where I'm going to be all over the place. I just got to be a little bit more careful because it's a little bit more slippery. You'll see me kind of probably sliding all over the place, but the front wing has so much downforce, it's still controllable. That's the funny thing. It has so much downforce in the front that you can kind of slide all over the place with the rockets pushing you around and say, well, I got control over this. It's no problem. It would actually make a pretty decent drift car now that I think about it, because it's able to slide so easily and it's so easy to recover. You just put kind of like a drift suspension on it if you need to, and I bet it would excel at drifting. But you know what would really make it awful though is if we went ahead and removed this front wing. So let's go ahead and come to a stop real quickly, and we're going to pull the wing right off. And now the churn-in sucks. So I'm probably going to slam into a wall real easily because I think I can go through the corner much faster than I can, and it just doesn't churn. There we go. That was fast. I've already wrecked this thing. Okay, and I've even flipped it. I want to do a little bit more than that, though, especially, yeah, the suspension's ruined here, so we can't really drive. So bring this thing back to where we started, and then we're going to go ahead and just remove the rear wing, and then we'll remove the front wing once again and try this one more time. I think the secret here is going to be using a lot of e-brake. The e-brake is going to help us get around these corners because we can't steer in good enough. I do have to make sure that I don't e-brake too hard, though, because without the downforce in the front, we can't really slide this thing all over the place like we were doing before. I mean, we can still slide it a bit, but not as aggressively. So on this corner, we're going to do, hopefully, a good one right here. Yeah, that looks decent. Like, I feel okay with that. It wasn't super fast or anything, but it's kind of showing you how you have to use the e-brake to really get this thing to churn in as much as you would want it to. So same here, kind of e-braking this thing around the corners. E-brake! Ooh, just tap right there. Probably ruined everything with this thing, so we'll just slam it into a wall right there. And now let's go ahead and take a look at the damage. And we're going to switch up the map, so looks fine, I guess. And now we're going to go to a map that is a big, long straightaway like SSRB. I really do like the name of this place because it reminds me of WhyBeAre. Anyways, we're going to be using the land speed record one. And there's also a stripped off-road and a stripped track version. I'm not going to be using those because there's not much to really look at when you just have a chassis with a roll cage on it. So with the land speed record, it says it's believed to be the fastest car. The solid rubber tires may fail above 500 miles per hour. So yeah, this thing has solid rubber tires and it looks really interesting. Like these tires, they look so strange on this car, but they are purpose built and they serve that purpose really well. And it kind of makes me wish I could put those on other cars because there's a lot of time when you're driving really fast and the tires burst. You're like, man, if only I had tires that could go faster. Well, these ones, they can go 400 miles per hour, no problem. So what we're doing is we're getting this thing up to speed. So we're going to get it as fast as we can go like this. We can actually use nitrous if we wanted to, but it's not super necessary. And then once we're going as fast as it can go with the manual transmission, we engage the rockets. And now we go as fast as we can using the rockets. So we're up to 250, 270, 300 miles per hour already, as these tires are doing an amazing job of holding together. Usually tires have exploded by now. These ones not. No, they're great. They're perfectly attached still. They're not even like jiggling or anything really. Look at that. They're nice and solid because they are solid rubber apparently. Like I've never seen that in the game before where somebody actually makes tires that are a solid object. We're now going 550 miles per hour. The tires are still holding up though. And we're nearing 600, but we're going to run out of thrust. And oh no, right there, everything is falling apart. And I don't know what we could do. We're going to retract the wing and try not to fall off the edge. I don't really have any steering or anything though, because this thing is basically exploded on itself at the speeds. I can only let it come to a stop on its own. And I don't even know how fast it's going anymore. I'm just going to hold the e-brake down, which doesn't seem to be doing much. We're just going to scrape along until we stop. But I think that will do it for this video. Till next time, this has been WhyBeAre. I'll see ya.